The Critical Strike of today is so very different to the game that I originally fell in love with. 5 years ago, when I played Critical Strike for the first time, I was shocked at how enamored I was with a simple fighting game. For reference, at this point in time, I was enjoying games such as Welcome to Bloxburg and Work at a Pizza Place. Perhaps it was the simplicity. Perhaps it was the soundtrack. Perhaps it was the easy controls, or perhaps it was something else entirely. Whatever it was, I fell in love with Critical Strike. I distinctly recall being so eager to play the game during all of my free time as a high schooler. I wanted to do nothing more than equip Rocketeer and fly into the air, shooting rockets at my opponents and burning up the map. These days, of course, I feel the same way. Mostly. I definitely don't have a strong obsession for the game anymore, but whenever I'm bored or simply no longer wanting to do the things I need to do, it's very likely that I'll hop onto Roblox and play Critical Strike. So while the fact that I love this game hasn't changed, so very much else has, and that is the topic of this video. More specifically, the fact that other games have kind of ruined Critical Strike. What I'm referring to is a very specific type of game, often called arena style or battlegrounds. These games, especially in the Roblox sense, are basically the ultimate free-for-all, with no rules and no boundaries. Players are free to attack each other as they want. There are no 1v1s. There are no tournaments. There are no solo matches. You just log on and fight. To an extent, this is exactly what Critical Strike is at its very core, a free-for-all, class-based fighting game. Of course, 5 years ago when I began playing, there was a strong but unspoken rule to respect individual fights. Over time, I came to learn what it meant to respect a 1v1. I came to learn that it meant to vulture and to third party. I came to learn that I didn't like having people do these things to me. I came to learn that I liked being respectful and that I liked to watch others fight. I came to learn that I enjoyed having uninterrupted and completely fair 1v1s. Over time, of course, things change. And perhaps the largest change to Critical Strike is not the fact that it is now technically an entirely different game made by an entirely different team, but rather the fact that this unspoken rule is now one that perhaps doesn't even exist. Critical Strike has gone from a game that was only technically a free-for-all to a game that is everything but a free-for-all. You will be hard-pressed to join a server where the majority of the players aren't fighting each other randomly and ruining individual fights. For a long time, perhaps at least the past 12 months, if not more, I have been vehement about my distaste for this style of fighting. For quite some time, I can vividly recall targeting anyone and everyone who ruined my fights. I also recall becoming insanely angry and sometimes even depressed when my lack of skill became evident and my efforts against those who refused to respect the unspoken rule. And then I stepped away from Critical Strike. Or perhaps I stepped away from gaming. I became very busy and I became very wise. And with that time and separation, and with that wisdom, I have come to realize that perhaps this new way of fighting isn't something to hate, but rather to embrace. Instead of saying that Critical Strike has been ruined, of course there is a part of me that wishes for the days of old where everyone respected 1v1s, or I should say the majority of people respected 1v1s, but the overwhelming majority of myself concedes that it is a uniquely fun experience to worry about your fights being interrupted. I also concede that it is quite fun to ruin the fights of other people, and to snipe players from across the map just when they think they're about to win their own fights. I concede that it is fun when someone third parties my fight and they kill my opponent. I concede that I enjoy killing someone who targets me. I concede that I now enjoy so many of the things that the me of 5 years ago would have hated. So perhaps all along I was less worried about respect for the game and for the unspoken rule, and more about myself and what I wanted. And so with this I shall conclude. When you can, respect the fights of others. But when you want to, you should know that you no longer have to. Stay vibrant, and I'll see you all around.